A little cold.
Well, why don't you go heat them up? The fries.
Oh, the fries. No, I meant I'm cold, not the fries.
It is kind of cold in here, but Drew needs the air conditioner on so he can
That's true.
edit his video. So how'd you feel about making the movie?
What an interesting experience. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't so bad, was it?
There are many moments in your life where you know something cerebrally,
Yeah.
but you don't really know how it feels.
Yeah.
It's gonna suck when my parents die. It's gonna be incredible if I have a kid. But you can't really predict how it's gonna feel so much on a gut level. And the film project's kind of like that. You know you're gonna get less than 10 hours of sleep. You know you're gonna have moments of exhilaration and others where you're losing your mind. But nothing really quite beats actually doing it.
So yeah, so like, let's say all the build up that you had for the week and a half that you were planning on doing this.
Yeah. I'm really glad we did a lot of prep in terms of trying to find locations. It was such relief that we got a genre that we could do in one spot.
Yeah, we didn't have to move around.
We could just do a horror movie, not a horror movie, a suspense thriller all in this house. It's got a lot of different rooms that are really nice for that.
Do you think it would have been harder to do like road movie compared to this thriller suspense in one location?
Right, maybe. I think on the one hand, because we did have some crew who had a fair amount of experience, not with 48 Hour Festival, but with real film sets. There was a very high level of expectation among some people about what was possible with the lighting and the blocking and the camera work. And maybe beyond our experience, I'm not sure. I think if we were out in the field, maybe we would have been so constrained by time and sunlight that we would have we would have been less ambitious in some ways.
So are you saying that because there were such high expectations, it actually hindered production?
No, but it made us. We felt like we could push certain elements because we had one location, and for that reason we had more time because we weren't running around to different spots around the city. And we could have things going on in one room of the house. We could shoot in one room and prepare another. Maybe if we had a big enough team, we could do that in cities around the city also. But that seems like a logistical nightmare.
So, is it a curse or a blessing for a first-time 48-hour film project team to have very experienced filmmakers, but not experienced in working in such a time constraint?
It was a huge blessing, I think. The one good thing about the tax benefits disappearing in the film industry meant there are all these incredible people being recruited by teams this year. And we had Polina, who had many contacts with people inside the Iowa film industry and had a lot of experience working on sets. They were very disciplined, on time, very disciplined, very motivated, and very creative with coming up with shots and ways to solve lighting problems and camera problems. It was a huge blessing. She brought a lot of great people onto our team.
Speaking of lighting, how do you feel about the lighting on the movie?
I don't know if it was a matter of length. Even though we had time trying to get to know the camera, I'm not sure we ever figured out exactly what the best situations were for different, the best camera settings for each light setting. And when we're improvising new lighting setups during the shoot, it's sometimes hard to just go to what you prepared for.
In such a new frontier, considering what is the first year for everybody in this crew except for one person.
Really?
I think Polina worked on another Smoke Monster Productions last year.
It's a different one.
Southside of Steers, I'm sorry.
Right.
would you say that the lighting was a bit too ambitious for a first year team, where we tried too much to get good lighting while being completely unprepared for the setup time within the time constraints and the technology that we had at hand?
Maybe. I think maybe our biggest problem was writing a story that took place mostly at night. And then having to wait for nightfall. On one hand, that gave us a lot of prep time during the day to rehearse, sleep, and plan. On the other hand, it meant a lot of low light situations where if we wanted good film quality, we still had to pump a huge amount of light into the scene. But all of a sudden I'm not sure we ever got the hang of putting enough light into the scene to get a high level of quality out of the camera, and at the same time have it dark enough to look like it's night. We don't really have any experience with color correction, or at least under such a time crunch. We did it with one shot.
Or gaffing.
Or gaffing.
Yeah, we had no gaffer.
We're all amateurs, what can I say? No, doing the color correction was something a lot of people were saying, or thinking, we can correct the levels of balance in post, but we kind of learned how to color correct one shot on the fly, and that's the last shot of the film. And you can probably tell that's a different lighting.
So, last question.
Color scheme.
Last question. Software next year. Do you think we're gonna still shoot digital with like a 5D Mark II, the equipment this year? And do you think that you would change any of your editing techniques?
Editing techniques, I think there are a couple shots I wish we had gotten. I don't know necessarily if it was coverage, or if I don't know if we needed I have no idea what she did, but it didn't sound very nice. I'd love to use this camera again, especially if we all know how to use it a little better. I think a year at a time is plenty of time to do that. Similarly, I hope to get more practice using color correction and getting to know codecs a little better. The settings at which film is imported, the settings film is shot at, imported at, rendered at, and exported at. Those are all 4 steps, which I've been deathly afraid of screwing up. And even though we tried to practice rendering, lots of stuff can go wrong.
And one last question. I said the last one's the last question, but do you think Yellow Sandwich Studios is going to make another movie?
I hope so. These people were really fun to work with. Even when we were like going at each other's throats, everybody was very creative and helpful, and I think there was a good balance of following the game plan and also improvising on the spot to develop new solutions.
Do you think that they would want to work with you again?
I hope so. I hope I made a good impression. I think as editor, my role was mostly offset. There was a little confusion as to whether or not I would be script coordinator also. Eventually I decided to kind of step out of that because I was trying to continually manage what had already been shot and see if it was usable or not.
Cool. All right. Thanks.